dropped him. Yeah. Right there, baby.
Alright guys, today I'm out at the Pawnee National Grasslands, northern Colorado, and I'm going to be checking my sights on my muzzleloader. I've got an eye condition that allows me to use a scope here. I had to get an eye doctor to sign off, and I had to apply with the state and go through a long process. But I do have a privilege to use a scope, just like in other states you can use scopes. Colorado you typically can't, so I got lucky. At least that disability is finally paying off for some reason. But anyway, I've got this thing, it goes from 4 power up to 12 power. And I've got some little, it's got hash marks in the reticle. Below the main crosshair there are 1, 2, 3 more hashes. And so I've done this in the past where I've checked them 100, 150, and 200, but it's been a few years, so I always like to come back out before season and just double check everything's still on. So I'm going to start at 100 yards and I'll work my way out to 150, out to 200. Now you can probably hear the wind. I've got a pretty good crosswind. I'm going to hold dead on and see how much I drift, and this, I guess it's about 8 to maybe 10 miles an hour wind. Perfectly perpendicular crosswind. I'm using a Bergara barrel on the Accura muzzleloader, and it's a 50 caliber, and I will be using 338 grain Powerbelts. These are their platinum, kind of the top of the line. I've taken an elk with one of these, did a great job, and a couple deer as well. So I'm also going to be shooting Pyrodex RS propellant at 110 grains. So target practicing with the muzzleloader. I never used to use one of these until one time I got all kinds of bruises. So I prefer not to have bruises when I just go target shooting. And let me double check my powder measure from last year. This is just my hunting vest. I have everything tied in so I can reload on the fly out in the field. And I remember this is actually set to 105 grains. I had 110 and it would just beat me up too bad. So I've got dropped down to 105 grains. And this is my powder measure. And I've got some powder in this delivery tube here. And so the way this one works, I just put it to where the powder is right at the top, and then it just folds over and smooths it out so you get a pretty accurate charge. And I like to use these speed loaders, especially if you are in a hunting situation, you need to get another shot off. It's pretty nice to have everything all ready. But I'm just going to load these up for now with my powder charges so I can take a few shots and not have to measure each time. So I'll fill up the other ones off camera. Alright, so I got my powder charges pre-measured. Now this muzzleloader, I thoroughly clean it after each use. So I've learned a long time ago that it's best to go ahead and shoot a couple primers by themselves to kind of clear out any kind of oil or anything that could be in that flash hole where the spark from the primer goes and hits the powder charge. So I don't have any powder charges in here yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and shoot 2 primers. It also fouls the barrel just a little bit, which I've heard will help improve your accuracy as far as shot to shot. Okay, to load this guy, I've got my pre-measured powder charge here in my speed loader. So I'm going to carefully open that up. And I like to put my fingers kind of around the barrel, make a little bit of a funnel to get that to all fall in there. Try to be as accurate as you can, because if you pour some out on the ground, you're going to be missing some powder, missing some power to push that bullet out. Now these Powerbelts, they have this plastic kind of skirt on there, and if your barrel is clean, you can push these in pretty much just by hand. If it's not clean after you shoot a few times, you might want to use one of these ball starters to kind of push it down. And the way that works is usually you push here on the top and then you push here. And then pushing this all the way down, and I like to really put some pressure on that. And as I'm hunting, periodically every other day, I'll keep tapping this down just so I know that I've got no space between the projectile and the powder. And right now it's ready to go, other than it needs a primer. Alright, so I've placed the primer in there. So this thing is ready to go. Alright, I'm going to cock the hammer back. That serves as your safety on these. There's really no mechanical safety other than that. I'm going to shoulder it nice and tight, get everything in position, and then relax. So guys, here's my 100-yard shot. I held it dead on, but I've got a decent crosswind from the right to the left. So 100 yards, I'd guess this is about a 5 to 8 mile an hour wind. That's about how far it shoots to the left. Well, 100 yards is pretty successful. I'm going to try 150 now. 150 should be my second hash below there. Now these hashes only line up with 12 power because this is not a first focal plane scope. So I have to make sure if I'm going to use these, I'm at 12 power. Height looks good. It's still windy out there, so it pushed it another like 4 or 5 inches to the left, but the height is good. So that second hash is where it needs to be. So here is my 150-yard shot, holding it dead on in the wind. You can see it's getting pretty breezy out here, pushing it about 6 or 7 inches to the left. Alright, so I've set it out at 200 yards, and knowing that the wind is going to push me way over here, I put a sticker target over here. So I'm going to aim there. I'm going to imagine I'm going to hit clear over here somewhere. But it's always good to do this and see how much you need to adjust for the wind. So it's good to sometimes shoot on a not perfect day. So what's cool about these speed loaders is it holds your bullet in there as well. So I've already dumped my powder charge in there, and you can use this as your ball starter. Push it down, it gets started. This particular design holds your primer cap right there. So everything you need right there. You can reload fairly quickly. So here we're going for 200 yards. Alright guys, there's my final 200-yard shot. Again, I was aiming at this, but I had quite a bit of a cross breeze, but my up and down's good. So up and down's good, 100, 150, and 200, just all to the left because of the wind. These other shots here are from a different rifle I was shooting that same day. Why didn't I go put out a fresh target? Because I was really tired of walking 200 yards every time.